in Greenville, South Carolina. First game of the day to tip off the first full day of madness. And it was mad. All the way down to the wire it went, and it's TCU, the survivor of the 8-9 game in the East region, as they knock off the Buckeyes of Ohio State by a pair. And now the Horned Frogs will await the winner of our next game in the Greenville Pod. The 1-16 matchup in the East, and it features the #1 overall seed in the tournament, the Blue Devils from Duke University, taking on the champions of the MAAC, not the Mid-American Conference, the MAAC, the Saints of Siena, returning to the NCAA Tournament for the first time in 16 years. And once again, hello one and all, I'm Matthew Owens. JT Seth Eaves coming up in just a moment. Thanks for having us in for Game 2 of the day in Greenville. Duke, the #1 overall seed, 32-2, their tremendous record this year, 17-1 in conference play. They're coming off grinding out an ACC tournament title last weekend. You know the story by now with Duke. This has been one of perhaps the best team in college basketball all season, but they're dealing with major and crucial injuries down the stretch of the season. Their starting point guard, Caleb Foster, has a fractured bone in his ankle. He is out for the foreseeable future. Their starting center, Patrick Gungba, has had right foot soreness, an injury that he's dealt with throughout much of his high school and short college career. He missed their regular season finale and the 3 games in the ACC tournament. And the word from Jon Scheyer yesterday after practice and the press conference was that he is unlikely to play today. Even still, they are huge favorites against Siena in the tournament for the first time since 2010. It is a program that when they've made the tournament, they've won quite a bit of games in the tournament. They're 4-6 all-time in 4 NCAA tournament appearances, and they have 3 wins in their program's history against top 8 seeds. Obviously, they are up against it today. They're coached by Jerry McNamara, who has a rich March Madness history himself. As a player, he won a national championship at Syracuse in 2003. This is his second season as the head coach of Siena, and he's led them back to the NCAA tournament after being a longtime assistant under Jim Boeheim at Syracuse. Duke and Siena is just a few minutes away from tip-off. Seth Eaves with us back again. And Seth, what has happened so far today as the first wave of games still going on in the first full day of tournament action?
Thank you very much, Matthew Owens. Earlier today, 2 games are final. Of course, Matthew mentioned TCU 66-64, a thriller over Ohio State in the first game of the day. One of their final today in Oklahoma City. Some thought Troy over Nebraska would be a trendy upset pick, but it didn't happen. Nebraska just lays the wood on the Trojans, 76-47. The Huskers win their first ever NCAA tournament game. They're on to the second round. In Buffalo, another possible upset pick is falling apart. Louisville all over South Florida, 51-35 with 15.5 to play in Buffalo. In Portland, the Big South champions, High Point, the #12 seed, leads Wisconsin 43-41, 17-38, those still to play in that one. So still a long way to go. Siena and Duke is coming up next. The next scheduled game to tip after this is McNeese and Vanderbilt. That's about a 3:15 tip-off, the Southland champs against the team that made a run to the SEC championship last weekend, which included a stunning demolition of the conference's top seed, Florida. I'll keep you up to date with all the action, but for now, it's time for the battle of national championship players that are now coaches. McNamara versus Scheyer, and our point guard, Matthew Owens.
McNamara won, of course, the title at Syracuse, as I mentioned, in 2003. Jon Scheyer in 2010 at Duke. Caden Boozer gets the start at point guard once again for the Blue Devils in the absence of Caleb Foster. He was huge. Basically, after halftime of the first game of the ACC tournament, which they survived against Florida State, he was huge from there on out. It's Duke in their home whites that controls the opening tip, and we are underway. And Caden Boozer gets right to work with a lob, and Malik Brown throws down a dunk, and that's the way Duke gets their NCAA tournament started. John Shire led them to the Final Four last year. This is his 4th year as the bench boss of the Blue Devils with a dazzling record of 121-24. Here is Siena on the ball. Gavin Doty is their best player. Just lost the dribble outside right, recovered and gave it to Francis Folafak, and then he loses it, taken by Gavin Doty again on the right baseline, who pushes up a shot late in the clock that misses. Rebound down to the Devils, and here comes Duke with Boozer, putting it on the deck. Caden slips his way in, and with the left hand, floats it up and in off glass. Duke's out to a 4-0 start. Caden has made just 7 starts this season, including all 3 in the ACC tournament last week. He had 16 points in both the semifinal and final of the ACC tournament. That is his season and career high. Here's Doty, top of the arc, defended by Isaiah Evans. Spins and flips it to the outside. Riley Mulvey rockets a pass into the left corner. Doty catches, puts up a 3, and he can hit him, and he does there. Gavin Doty out of Fulton, New York, a 33% three-point shooter. He was 2nd in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference in scoring this year at 18 points per game. Here's the best player in the country, Cameron Boozer, mid-post left, out to Sarr, back for Cameron, out of the left corner. He'll try a 3, and he rips the cords from downtown. Duke's hit field goals on their first 3 trips. 7-3 start. Cameron Boozer, 22.5 points per game, along with 10 rebounds and 4 assists. He leads Duke in all of those categories. Hard to believe they could get a Cooper Flagg-like player 2 years in a row. Mulvey lost the dribble up top, was able to recover. Back for Doty he goes. Doty, a confident shooter, spins to his right, feeds it left in the corner. Folafak is open, and Folafak knocks down a 3. Francis Folafak out of Ottawa, Ohio, 11 points, 5 rebound per game scorer, and that's just his 5th 3 of the game. Of the season. Isaiah Evans at the other end catches and shoots a 3 of his own, and he's able to knock it down as he strokes in a 3 from the top of the arc, and the Blue Devils are red hot. 10-6 start for Duke, just 2.5 minutes in. Justice Schultz from Pennsylvania gets a screen, cuts left, stops in the elbow, pull-up jumper, misses short, and the rebound down to Evans. Duke in their home whites, royal blue numbers in trim. Attacking from left to right. Evans entry feed. Cameron Boozer right of the lane. Wants to post up. He does on Folafak. Rockets outside. Evans extra pass. Caden extra pass to the left corner. Sarr's open. Misfires from 3. Duke's first miss, and a foul going for the rebound. Malik Brown got an arm on Brendan Coyle, who went up for the loose change. And Siena finally makes a stop. And stops are something that Siena can get. They rank 15th in the country in scoring defense. They only surrender 65.7 points per game. Can they slow down this Duke attack? Different story, but they will certainly try. This university with enrollment of just over 3,500 out of Loudonville, New York. Next year will be the 90th year that Siena has been in place, as Doty from the foul line, pull-up jumper misses short. Brown the rebound, sweeps it in transition, and Evans will launch a 3 on a pull-up and miss fire, and the rebound down to Coyle. Siena going to try to stay in arm's distance here as long as they can. They know they're heavy underdogs, but it's a confident bunch. Confident because mostly of their coach, Jerry McNamara. As we know, twice before, only twice, has a 16 seed beat a 1 in the tournament. Doty feeds it right, taken by Francis Folafak. Back up top, late shot clock, Schultz top of the circle, gets it inside. Leaning in, Mulvey misses the jumper in close off glass, and a fight for the rebound and a foul going against Duke. Now we talk about Siena's defense. 15th in scoring defense this season. Duke is 3rd in points given up at just 63 a game, behind only Northern Iowa and Houston. Northern Iowa in this region of the bracket. They'll play St. John's in the 5-12. And Houston, of course, the 2 in the South. Great defense can travel in this tournament, as Folafak, a 74% free throw shooter, rattles in his first. Siena's won 6 of their last 8 games. They won 3 games in 4 days to win the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference tournament title, beating Mount St. Mary's by 5, Fairfield by 15, and beating the regular season champions MAAC in the final by 10. Second free throw is good for Folafak. 2-point lead for Duke. Caden Boozer into the front court. Gives it to Cameron. The Boozer twins, that won 4 straight state championships at Christopher Columbus High School in Miami. Back to Caden out of the left corner, dribbles inside, deals it off to Cam on the left lane line. Come at him with a double, cross-court Saar, off to Caden. Slashes up right baseline, kicks left corner. Cam extra pass to the wing. It's Evans for 3. Line drive missed short. Fight for the rebound. Siena has it. Here come the Saints with Doty in the front court, directing traffic. No look pass to the top of the arc coil. Now it's Doty again. Swings it to Mulvey. Mulvey, a great bounce pass inside. Fallafak, tough catch. Had a mismatch with Evans defending, and Fallafak spins and scores. It's 10-10. Story in this tournament, however long it lasts for Duke, is how long will they be without their starting center, Gungba. Caden wraps it for Cam up top. Open look at a 3, missed wide left, and Gungba's not down low to fight for that rebound here, and Fallafak comes away with it, and Siena's got numbers in transition, and taking it right to the rim, Justice Schultz lays it in, and Siena has the lead. Schultz with the basket, 13-point-per-game scorer for Schultz, and it's a 12-10 start for the Saints. Both teams have hit 4 of their first 8 from the field. Duke's missed 4 straight after making their first 4. Short corner left Cam, up top Dame. Back to Caden. You just about have them in a first-name order, especially with the 2 brothers, as Saar will drive in from the left. He draws contact and a foul, and that's going to lead to our first timeout with just over 5 minutes gone, and Siena 28.5-point underdogs, sticking with Duke, at least to the first media timeout. 23-11 they went Siena on the season. They placed 3rd in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, or as some people on a certain podcast that I love call it, the MAAC. They placed 3rd in the regular season standings in the conference and won the tournament, as I mentioned, by beating Mount St. Mary's, Fairfield, and Merrimack. So off to a timeout, and let's hit up Seth for an update.
Hey, this High Point, Wisconsin game has been high-level stuff. Some good shot making so far. 14:28 to play in Portland. 52-48 lead for the Badgers in this one. Louisville making a real statement today. Their lead is now ballooned to 22 on USF with still 10:33 to play. Michigan State or North Dakota State be warned, perhaps. McNeese and Vandy, again, that's the next game to tip off. 3:15 Eastern Time, the scheduled tip in Oklahoma City for the Cowboys and the Commodores. McNeese, of course, one of the few upset winners on the first day last season. Do they have another trick up their sleeve? We shall see.
Well, it'll be interesting to find out. High Point, Wisconsin game, there were plenty of people, including myself, that came into the tournament thinking that High Point could win a game, at least one, then got the draw of Wisconsin and that team going all the way out to Portland, and kind of came off of High Point. Perhaps we misjudged what High Point can do going cross-country and against the Badgers. Of course, that tip time was in the 10 o'clock hour local, which obviously could play a bit of a factor with your body clock.
Well, you say that, but High Point's, if it hurt anybody, but hurt High Point, being that it's a 3-hour difference versus just a 2-hour difference for Wisconsin.
Right. 1 seeds versus 16 seeds. It took, well, a long time for a 16 to beat a 1, and we never thought, there were close calls, but a lot of people thought it would never happen because the gulf in talent is so large. Obviously did happen in 2018 for the first time in Charlotte. UMBC just shredded Virginia by 20, and then it happened just a couple of years ago for a second time when FDU beat Purdue. 1 seeds all-time in the tournament are 154-2 against 16 seeds. Siena, led by Jerry McNamara, hoping to become a historic 3rd 16-1 upset maker. 7th trip to the tournament for Siena. As I mentioned, first time since 2010, and they have a 4-6 record in their prior 6 tournament trips. They got a win in 1989, first round as a 14 seed. They beat Stanford. One of their wins was a play-in win back when the field was 65 teams. They beat Alcorn State in the play-in game. as Dame Sarr out of the timeout makes the first free throw for Duke. And then first round wins in back-to-back years. 2008 they beat Vanderbilt, 2009 the thriller against Ohio State. Second free throw by Sarr is good. We're tied at 12. Yes, in Dayton that game was. Here's Siena on offense after the free throws from Sarr. Justice Schultz runs the point much of the time for this Saints team. Dribbles right, gets it out of his hands to Mulvey. Mulvey drifts left on the perimeter and hands off to Doty. 18-point-per-game score, second most in the conference. Feeds it left in the corner, slashing in and backpedaling out is Schultz. He probes, he spins on the left elbow. Fadeaway jumper is good over the tough defense of Nicholas Hamenya. Schultz scores. 13-point-per-game score for this Siena team. And they're back in front. Here's Caden Boozer from the foul line, wrapped it out to Cam. He gets blitzed with a double on the elbow. He locates an open Sarr out of the left corner. He'll stroke the three. It misses. Long rebound out to Cam. He'll restart the offense. Charges his way inside. Flips it up. Glass and rim miss, but a foul drawn on Riley Mulvey. So interesting to think about a 1-16 matchup like this where the 16 seed may have a big advantage in size. Now, granted, it's not every position where Siena has a size advantage, but at the position where size plays the biggest role, they do today as Cam Boozer makes the first free throw. Mulvey, their starting center, a 7-footer. And, of course, without Gungba at 6'11 in the lineup, they will be rotating Cam Boozer at 6'9 and Nicholas Hamenya at 6'8 and Malik Brown at 6'9 in at the 5 spot. So Mulvey, we see what he can do. He's got the size advantage. Does he have a talent and maneuverability advantage? We'll see. Second free throw good for Cam. He made them both. We're tied at 14. Siena into the front court with Schultz. Slashes right, feeds it to Mulvey. 7-footer on the outside, guarded by Brown. Dribbles to his right, gives it up in the corner, and Darren Harris into the game for Duke. Swatted it out of bounds away from Brendan Coyle. Stays with Siena. Harris is getting more playing time with these injuries for Duke. 10 minutes a game off the bench this season. He's played in all but 2 of their games. Inbound from underneath is thrown all the way into the backcourt to our right, and Doty will run it down. Doty left-handed hip-high dribble into the front court. Slashes left. He'll drive right at the middle. Right at Cam Boozer. He goes, and Doty banks it in on a strong drive. Gavin Doty with the basket. Such an eclectic player. Siena leads by 2. Here's Darren Harris out of the left corner. Twisting inside and then playing it back out for Cameron Boozer. Cam off the top of the arc takes a screen. Steps back, shoots a 3. Comes up short. Rebound is fought for. It's off Doty last. Out of bounds to the Blue Devils. Duke will keep possession. Doty, I mentioned 18 points per game. He also averages 7 rebounds a game. Drops a couple of assists on average. He is an all-around really good player. He was the MVP of the MAAC Tournament. He scored 23 in the final against MAAC in the upset. Inbound right of the lane. Cam on the post-up. Bounces it out. Hamenya locates Harris. Extra pass on a bounce. Caden, far left corner. Doty defends. Back up top for Darren Harris. 8 to shoot. Now it's Brown. Swings it right. Cam on the attack. Steps in and collides into a Saint. Knocks over Schultz. And it's a blocking foul on Schultz with the shot clock down inside of 4. Schultz trying to set the screen, didn't get his feet set. Of course, a lot of people making the very easy dot connection of Jerry McNamara perhaps being the next head coach at Syracuse. They do have a coaching opening going into the offseason. Boozer makes his first free throw. And he has been solid in his 2 years at Siena and spectacular this season, of course. Assistant coach at Syracuse under Jim Boeheim from 2011 to 23, and then was the associate head coach at Syracuse for a season. Cam made the second free throw to tie the game at 16. He heads to the bench to get a breather. He doesn't get a lot of those, and he certainly hasn't since the injuries to Foster and Gungba. He played 35 minutes plus in all 3 games at the ACC tournament in Charlotte last week. He averages 33. Doty, step back 3 off right wing, misses too strong. Brown the rebound. Duke rips and runs. Evans up top finds Brown, who fakes a handoff, dribbles left, gives to Harris. Harris trying to turn the corner, works his way inside, fadeaway jumper, a 10-footer, no. Rebound is grabbed by Siena's Brendan Coyle. Tied at 16 as we approach the 8-minute mark here, and Siena punching above their weight so far. Weave action up top around the perimeter. They get it off the left wing for Schultz. Back up top. Step in. 3 is down. 3-pointer from Coyle puts Siena back in front. 29% three-point shooter in the regular season, but he hits that one, and Siena's hit 3. Sarr outside left, centered for Brown, top of the circle. Evans cut to the basket. Brown couldn't get it to him. Back out to Sarr, freshman from Italy. Plays catch with Brown. Now it's Evans again. Sharpshooter comes to the wing. Line drive 3, well short. Comes right back to him. Shovels it to the left corner. Harris checks the feet, misfires on a 3. Rebound Siena, and a chance to extend the lead. Up they come with Schultz. Stops left arc, centers up top. Coyle will try another 3, and rainbows in another. And Siena's hit 4, and John Shire's going to take a timeout. Siena's up by 6. Coyle knocks down the 3, and Siena with a great start in Greenville. A lot of Duke fans in this building, and they are stunned at the start from the Saints of Siena. 6-point margin as we get a timeout on the floor. And let's check back in with Seth. Wisconsin and High Point, doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of separation there heading to the finish line.
They're halfway through the second half. 61-58 lead for the Badgers in that one. South Florida has cut the Louisville lead to 14 with 8:34 to play in Buffalo. And they're underway in OKC about 90 seconds in. McNeese with an early 2-0 lead over Vanderbilt.
Seth, stick with us here. You saw Siena in the MAAC Tournament final. You called that game here on the channel as they upset the regular season champions, MAAC. Your impressions on that team? I mean, obviously we're not all that different from a lot of people. I know we watch a lot of college basketball, but not a lot of people have seen a lot of Siena this season. But you certainly saw them in that final, so that's probably one more game than most people have seen Siena this year. Your thoughts on the Siena team and your thoughts on this start?
Well, you'll be shocked to know that this 3-point barrage is not too unexpected. I mean, it is a Jerry McNamara coach team, so Doty is their engine. He is the one that makes it go. And then you try to get everybody else involved in different ways. But this is a team that is, is sneaky good. And they're trying to prove they can hang around here and put a brief scare into the top overall seed in this tournament. And we know Jerry McNamara. We remember him as a player. Confidence is not going to be lacking for this Siena team. I can promise you that.
No doubt. And that's why they are such a confident team, because of what McNamara has given to them as a coach. Real quick as this break continues, and it was a long stretch without a whistle there. So they finally got one. They're extending it out, I think. Thoughts on GMAC possibly being the head coach at Syracuse? Maybe we see McNamara and Shire many more times in the coming years.
I mean, it makes sense. And I know there will be people out there that say, well, you don't want to hire a coach based off of a fluke run. Well, this was not a fluke. You have to remember this. When he took over this program 2 years ago, they were coming off a 4-win season.
Yeah.
That's it. 4 wins. They did have a losing record last year, but there was marked improvement. They had some success in the conference tournament, and then this year it has just taken off a slow, well, not really slow, it's just a good build for this Siena team, and it has them in the madness, and not backing down for the Dukies, at least for the first 9 minutes or so.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they have hit 4 of their first 5 from three-point range, forcing John Shire to call that timeout, and now Duke out of it will bring it up. Cam's back on the floor. Left baseline, he drew a double, threw it for Evans, who wasn't expecting it, and that ball in the backcourt is out of bounds, and it's going to go right back to Siena. And we're going to go right back to a timeout, because that's what can happen when you have long stretches without a whistle. John Shire, one of the top coaches in the country on out-of-timeout plays. That one out of a timeout, not ran well at all. Duke with a turnover, Siena with a 6-point lead. You are looking at your screen. You are looking live at your YouTube screen, and that is no mistake on the score. 22-16, Siena in front against the number 1 overall seed. We just did an update, and we just had commentary from Seth, so I want to go to our guy JT, who's at the master controls. Once again, he's got 4 screens that I can see in front of him. JT, we've been building it up for months, getting you into March Madness. You produced the majority of that first game. Your thoughts on the thriller that we had earlier between OSU and TCU?
This is complete and utter madness.
It is.
Yes, I cannot wait for the March-April madness because it ends 6th of April for some reason.
Well, see, what happens with that, JT, is you have March Madness, but then the deeper you get into the March Madness, you have an April ascension to...
Oh.
Yeah.
But April madness doesn't work, does it really?
No.
It kept me busy on the scoreboard.
Well.
This is also keeping me busy on the scoreboard. I don't have an official TV timeout button.
Because you need another button.
I'm gonna say, don't give it time. He'll make one.
Yeah.
Because we know how America are with their adverts. Because let's turn a game of halves into a game
all right,
of quarters.
Mr. Every soccer team in that United Kingdom with a shirt sponsor. All right, I want to hear about the adverts.
Yes, at least we do not disguise a commercial break as a hydration break.
Listen, the World Cup that's coming
Only
to the
3
United
months
States,
away, Matthew, from the 2026 World Cup.
Which will be won by the United States, are you kidding me? We're going to have a men's hockey gold medal, a women's hockey gold medal, a sled hockey gold medal, and we're going to win the World Cup, but we couldn't win the baseball tournament. My God.
By the way, we're down to 33.5% perfect brackets left.
That'll happen when you start with an 8-9 game, won't it?
Yeah, of course, this is according to the NCAA website. The NCAA Twitter, so I'm assuming it's all the ones on their website. Who knows, the ESPN might have a little bit more, a little bit less. Oh, by the way, great social media work from TCU men's basketball. They put the Texas Christian University.
Siena out of the timeout, restarts play up by 6, and they've made 6 of 7 from the field, and to the outside they go, and a 3 is missed up top by Doty. Rebound was poked away from Evans and recovered by Falafak, who goes to the rim and bounces it in. Francis Falafak gives Siena a lead of 8. Nearing the midway point of this first half, Duke, with that red-hot start, they have now missed 9 in a row. Evans will try to change it with a left dart 3 and does not. 10 straight misses from the Blue Devils as we near the midway point of this first half. Siena gets back to work on offense. Dark green uniforms, gold numbers and trim. Up top with it is Schultz. Feeds it right. Doty had it deflected. He recovered. Mulvey, good pass in deep. Deep catch and creating space is Falafak, who scores again. And Siena leads 26-16. Falafak has 11. Duke has 16 as a team. Malik Brown, right elbow, back out to Sarr. Duke overwhelmed here at the start, and the offense isn't helping them out. And then Cameron Boozer just lost the ball as it was poked away by Follifac. Boozer touches it last. It's out of bounds to Siena. A Duke team without Gungba and without Foster, and they played 3 games in 3 days without them last week in Charlotte and won all 3. Survived against Florida State, dominated Clemson, and won a thriller against Virginia. So far, Siena really testing this thin Duke rotation. Doty, top of the arc, has Cam Boozer defending. He gives it off to Coyle. Coyle sprints to his right. Plays it with a late clock to Follifac. Follifac with 3 on the timer shoots a air ball 3 from the right wing. And after such great offense, that possession was a mess. And it will belong to the Blue Devils. But Duke, they've missed 10 straight from the field. And Caden Boozer will bring it up here. Cameron Boozer up top. Hemenia sets a screen. Cam on the drive. And a lob. And Malik Brown flushes down a 2-headed slam. That's how they started the game, with Caden Boozer lobbing it to Brown on an alley. And they break that spell of 10 straight misses from the field with Cam Boozer lobbing it to Brown. Brown going to have to be a very versatile player. However long they're without Gungba. They hope to have him back Saturday, but first they've got to get to Saturday. They trail by 8. Mulvey from the foul line, trying to twist and turn on Brown. Mulvey backs in, turns back, and the fadeaway jumper is there for Riley Mulvey, who played all 40 minutes in that MAAC final. All 5 starters in that tournament final played at least 38 minutes. Mulvey, along with Follifac, played all 40. Cam Boozer sneaks in on a drive, gets to the rim, missed a layup, but drew a foul. Talk about the lack of depth with Duke with these injuries. This is not an overly deep Siena team. As I mentioned, they play their starters a lot. In fact, they only played 6 players in that MAAC final against MAAC. The only player that came off the bench for them was Christian Jones in that game, and he only played 6 minutes. Cam Boozer hits the first free throw. Cam still with that big scar on his upper right arm just below his shoulder. He got that in the NC State game, one of their last regular season games, penultimate regular season game, as it were, as he was getting scratched and clawed at by the Wolfpack in that game. Makes the second free throw. This is an 8-point Siena lead, and Duke, where would they be without free throws? They're 8 of 8 from the line, as Doty may have dribbled that off his footer. Is it off Hemenia? It's out of bounds off Hemenia. It'll stay with Siena. Nicholas Hemenia, a freshman out of Los Angeles, McDonald's All-American. He's been getting more minutes as the season's gone on as well. Inbound will come underneath with 19 on the shot clock, as you see. As John Shire was looking back at his back bench in the tablet to see if he wanted to challenge the call of out of bounds off Duke. He does not. Siena inbounds. Justice Schultz. Pull-up jumper left of the lane, no good. Back tap recovered by Doty. And Siena reloads on offense. Schultz outside left on the arc, defended by Sarr. Tremendous defender. Loops a pass left post. Follifac outside. Doty up for 3. Oh my goodness, he rips the cords from downtown again. Gavin Doty putting Siena up now by double figures. Here's Caden Boozer driving right lane line up with a floater, that pull-up floater that's becoming such a popular shot both in the college game and the NBA, especially from guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Caden hits it. 31-22, Doty dancing to the top of the circle. Spins it back outside for Schultz. Caden defends. Schultz puts it on the deck. Hemenia's over to help. Caden slips. That left Follifac wide open, but an extra pass to Doty. Straight on 3, swirling miss. Rebound Cam Boozer. Ahead for Caden. Stunning scoreline here to start. Cam gets a big screen from Brown. It's an illegal screen from Brown, and that's Malik Brown's second foul. And the last thing Duke can handle right now with the roster that they have available to them is foul trouble to any of their bigs. And Malik Brown, who's always an aggressive defender, that's what makes him such a good defender. He was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Aggression level might need to come down without Gungba. Second foul on Brown. Timeout on the floor. 9-point lead for Siena. So a timeout on the floor. Seth, what do we got going on as South Florida not going away? And perhaps we should have known they're not totally out of games the way they can shoot it and the way they play at pace.
That's for sure. It's been an admirable effort by Brian Hodgson's team to come back in this game. It's now a 9-point game. Still 5 minutes to play in Buffalo. A 9-point Louisville lead. Meanwhile, Wisconsin trying to get separation. They now lead by 8. 6:24 to go. Here is Rapp for 3. That's an air ball. If I'm not going to do any play-by-play, I'm going to get a little bit in while I'm doing updates. Again, are we going to have a Padula moment from last year? Probably not, but who knows? So that 3 missing. Wisconsin up 8. And Cowboy up, partner. McNeese has raced out to a 14-5 lead over the Commodores. So... good start for the champions of the Southland Conference. Listen, people want to bash on mid-major basketball. There are good teams all across this land. All right, this is for a certain someone. There are good teams all across these United States. And, well, we're seeing that here with High Point, McNeese, and, of course, Siena, Mr. Owens. I mean, I usually ask you this question at halftime, but I have to ask now, how's this happening?
Well, Siena, we talked about how confident they are, and whether it's just the confidence that they have had instilled in them through Jerry McNamara, or perhaps through what they've gained in the build-up to this game. I mean, they've had 4 days to prepare, and they, found out yesterday that definitely Gungba would not play for Duke. Not only do they have the confidence that they have just in general, but now they have the confidence that they're not oversized here. Duke might have more talent, and they do, but it's not the normal 116, as I mentioned earlier, where Duke just towers over Siena. Siena now has size to match them without Gungba in the lineup, and they are taking advantage of both inside and out play. 9-point game.
Myron Metcalf, Syracuse officials should walk onto the court at the end of 4 timeout with a contract. Pre-game Empire, Syracuse is going to hand Jerry McNamara a blank check in the locker room at halftime.
Well, his team playing extremely well here, and we talk about how so many times with 16 seeds, and it's the case in a lot of games with 14 and 15s as well, they try to stay within arm's distance for as long as they can. Siena has flown through that idea, and they have led the majority of this first half. They had a double-digit lead earlier. They lead by 9. Play back underway, and Doty with the ball. Entry feed left to the lane. A back end by Falafak, who gets to the elbow, then gives it up across the lane for Mulvey. Those 2 bigs are giving Duke issues. Back outside, Doty drives in the lane, and he hits a right-handed floater. Doty has been cooking in this first half. He's already in double figures once again. 32nd time that he's in double figures for the season. And this is their 35th game. Caden Boozer off a Cam screen, wrapped it back out to Cam. He'll aggressively drive it down the middle, and he steps through and hits the right-handed floater. 33-24. Cam already has 11, nearly half of Duke's points. Doty into the front court for Siena, dribbles from right to left. On the March Madness logo, Nicholas Hemenia out there defending on it. Doty entry feed. Falafak leans in on Caden, misses a leaner. Now it's back to him underneath. 3 Duke defenders around him, and they were trying to tie him up, and instead they've taken it away. Caden Boozer the other direction in transition. Sarr driving in. Aggressive move to the rim, but he misses the layup. It was defended well by Brendan Coyle. Doty will bring it back up the floor. Under 6 to go in the first half. Left-handed dribble on the midcourt logo from Schultz. Darren Harris back on the floor for Duke defending. Swung up top, Coyle off a screen. Shovels it to the top of the arc. Mulvey has Cameron Boozer defending. Mulvey loops it in. Tough catch, Follifac against Himinia, spins, puts it up. No! And a putback slam down by Mulvey! Riley Mulvey follows it up and glides in to dunk down the putback. Siena is not backing down. Caden Boozer wrapped up for Cam. Top of the arc, he's left free. He'll shoot the three, and it rattles off. Back tap on the rebound. Dame Sarr the rebound for Duke. A reset. Cam and Caden play catch. Caden steps top of the arc. He'll shoot the three, and that rattles off. Long rebound. Siena's got it, and they're running. They don't have numbers. It's 2-on-4. Schultz hits the brakes. Waits for support to arrive. Malik Brown set to check in at the next whistle despite having 2 fouls. Left corner is Doty. Doty backpedals, resets, crossover dribble on Caden. Entry feed Follifac. Follifac against Himinia. Mid-post left. Himinia knocked it away. Follifac recovered. Himinia knocked it away again, and this time he got too greedy, and he's called for the reach-in foul, the 6th on Duke. Beg your pardon, make that the 5th team foul going against the Blue Devils. UMBC over Virginia. FDU over Purdue. Will they be joined by Siena over Duke? Long way to go, but it's been a great start from the champions of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Mulvey off the top of the arc. Angles a pass off left wing. Coyle catches. Coyle tried to pop it across the arc, and as he often does, Malik Brown defensively with a deflection out of bounds. It'll stay with Siena. Shot clock at 6. No one gets more deflections and causes chaos defensively than Brown. Siena on the inbound. They get it inside. Mulvey on the left block. Whips a pass. Doty has to release it quickly. Out of the right corner, a 3 misses. Himinia the rebound. Diagonal outlet for Caden Boozer. Siena's back defensively. Caden gets right through the defense, though, and like a butter knife slicing through, gets to the rim and scores. 9-point margin. Just north of 4 to go first half. 35-26. Duke only gives up 63 points per game. They've given up 35 in 16 minutes to the champions of the MAAC. Schultz on the March Madness logo directs it left. Coyle has it. Himinia defends on the perimeter. Coyle back up top. Schultz, late clock. It's at 6. It's at 5. Back to Coyle. Top of the arc. Tried to feed it this way for Follifac, but it's out of bounds. A Siena turnover. They had not turned the ball over in this first half until that trip right there, against a Duke defense that forces 12 turnovers a game. Final media timeout first half. Siena by 9. That score on your screen in living color is still true. What about other scores? We won't have them in living color for you, but Seth can at least tell you about them.
The red of Wisconsin against the purple of High Point. How's that? Wisconsin at the free throw line just made the first of 2, so they're up by 3. Chase Johnston, he is the Jack Golke of this year's tournament, where he has taken all but 10 of his field goal attempts are threes. He just hit one from beyond NBA range a minute ago for High Point. I mean, it was stupid long. Wisconsin has made both free throws. They now lead up by 4, 3:25 to go, 3:19 to play in Buffalo as Johnston hits another 3. High Point within 1. Louisville 78-70 with 3:13 to play. And with 12 minutes to go in the first half, it's 21-12 McNeese. It's all happening here. Unbelievable, Jeff. Blackwell and Boyd, 12th game with both scoring in 20 points. Oh, Rapp, good follow. Rapp with the follow. Wisconsin up 3.
Rapper's delight.
2:45 left. What now?
Rapper's delight.
Oh yeah. Boy, did he go off last Saturday against Michigan or what?
Yeah, he did.
Another 3 for High Point. We're tied.
Wow. Lighting it up from 3.
Left.
HPU. A lot of people.
In the lane. Off the window, Boyd. Sorry, I know this is your show, but off the window, Boyd. Wisconsin back up 2. Now it's High Point at the other end. Whiplash basketball in Portland.
No, you're fine. Keep going, because A lot of people.
Boyd scores!
A lot of people jumped on
This
High
is
Point last
unbelievable.
year,
Good
and it
thing
didn't
Boy,
happen.
JT would be having a heart attack if he were scoring this game.
They were a trendy
This
upset
is
pick
unreal.
last year, and it didn't happen. Could happen this year.
Under 2 to play. They move it to the right wing. Still they move. 100 seconds. 7 on the shot clock. 3 for the lead. Too strong. Boyd the rebound. And Wisconsin's going to slow it up the floor. We will keep you posted as we return to action in Greenville.
In a
I
game,
can tell you guys that
Yep.
that 3-point was a 33-foot 3-point jumper from Chase Johnston in
Wow.
that High Point game.
Look at him. He's doing research of games that aren't even ours. He's the GOAT. Sorry, Matthew. He is the GOAT.
Please. Hate it when you call me that anyway. Siena shooting 54% from the field in this first half. They lead by 9. Duke inbounds to restart play. Caden Boozer in the lane. Pull-up floater, and again from 8 feet. He knocks it down. Who will finish this first half the best to provide a sting of momentum going into the locker room? Duke trails by 7, the number 1 overall seed. Siena on the ball. Fallafak on the outside. Puts it on the deck. Tried to drive it. Cam Boozer lost the handle. Got it back. Then a return from Mulvey up high. Handoff Doty. He'll turn the corner. Doty in the lane. Stagger step. Tried to turn on Evans, and Evans got him on the arm. It's a foul on Evans. And they are going to call it in the act of shooting, so it'll be 2 free throws for Doty. We will keep you up to date at the foul line. Seth, are we in live play over there in Portland?
They just went to break, but not before another Chase Johnston 3 has cut it to 1.
Under a minute, you said?
Roughly a minute left.
55 seconds.
Thank you, JT. I know you'd have my back. South Florida's within 6, by the way, with 96 seconds left, so might not be completely done here. I mean, this is... Oh, my goodness.
Doty hits both free throws.
You can't beat this.
No, you can't. Can't beat it with a stick. Duke on the ball. Hemenia off right wing. Centered Evans around the horn. Left wing Caden. Back up top Hemenia. Shot to the foul line. Cam Boozer a lob. Tough catch Brown. Whipped back outside. Hemenia will drive it. And his floater's blocked. Recovered by Doty. A 2-on-1 with Fallafak. Gives it up Doty. Fallafak to the rim. Slams it down. A shining moment for Francis Fallafak. And we might not be done with shining moments in this game. It's Siena by 11. Caden Boozer in, across the lane. Cam to the rim, through traffic, lays it in calmly. 39-30. Siena by 9. Looking into the whites of the eyes of the Blue Devils and refusing to blink. My gracious, here's Schultz on the March Madness logo. Feeds it right. Mulvey with Brown defending. Scoops it back into the hands of Doty. Evans defends. Doty, a spin, a move to the foul line. And the fall-away jumper is pure. They cannot miss. Doty with a 14-point first half. Duke ball again. Searching for answers and struggling to find any outside of the Boozer twins. Caden into Cam. Cam a lob. Brown deep catch goes up and scores. They are going more and more to that big-to-big lob in for Brown, and perhaps that's a play where they think they could have success, and they have had success on it so far. 9-point game, under 2 to go first half. Mulvey, backdoor feed, it deflected to Doty, and Doty scores again. A relentless Siena attack. Gavin Doty has half the amount of points that Duke's team does. Mulvey got the assist, his 4th for the big man. Hemenia, fastball feed in deep. Cam caught it out of a triple team. He nearly turned it over. Caden got it back. Pull-up floater misses this time. Rebound Siena. And a timeout taken by Jerry McNamara. The use it or lose it timeout. GMAC's team playing lights out in this first half against one of the best defensive teams in college basketball all season. They've scored 43 in the first 18 minutes and change. Siena's up by 11. Let's go back to Seth.
Well, High Point just challenged an out-of-bounds call the call on the floor was it was out of bounds off of a High Point player, but High Point's challenging, and let's see, does it? I think it touches 11 of High Point. I think it touches High Point. I gotta scramble. I'm disappointing the king of preparation again, but yes. So they're still in a challenge here. 55 seconds left in Buffalo. It's still a 6-point Louisville game. Looks like it might not be enough for South Florida. Looks like it's going to come up just short, but still an incredible effort, one way or the other. As a gold suit, that Siena band operator. Okay, let's see what the call is here. Reversed! High Point ball! Down 1! 54 seconds!
Pierre Moss in the comments section in all caps saying, I love this time of year. Duke fans suddenly aren't loving it anymore. It's 1:10 to go in the first half.
Might not be either.
And Siena is up by 11. And they have possession coming out of this timeout to try to increase the lead. Not only are they going to be up at halftime, they could be up double figures at halftime here. But no matter how the last 70 seconds of this half winds down, John Shire is not going to be a happy person in the halftime locker room. Cleaning up some wet spots on the floor.
The layup.
Wisconsin and High Point separated by 1 in the final seconds there. And you just heard High Point missed a layup.
It's like every American employee now. He has the score bug up, all 4 at once. Boyd, missed reverse layup. Rebound High Point. They got a chance here. Oh, they got an outlet. Johnston, layup, good.
Oh.
Good. 11 seconds. Timeout, Wisconsin!
Siena with a turnover out of the timeout. They were trying to go backdoor. They turned it over. You're fine. That's what I want you here for, is Caden Boozer whips it out. Left wing 3, Dame Sarr. Cannonballs a big triple. And Duke gets within 8 as Siena brings it back up. Here's a 3 at the other end from Folafak. It misses, and through traffic, the rebound was taken by Brown, but he got fouled. Doty was trying to spike it away. High Point leading Wisconsin by 1.
It's a heck of a time for his first 2-point attempt of the day, by the way. First 2-point field goal of the year for Chase Johnston.
Wow.
That's the first 2-pointer he's made all year.
That's incredible.
I think he picked a pretty good time to do it.
Duke brings it up, down 11. 6, maybe 7-second difference between shot clock and game clock here. Caden Boozer winding down time. Going back and forth on his dribble from right hand to left. Feeds it left for Hemenya. Hemenya back for Caden. Caden outside right. He's got 8 to shoot. Swings it left. Hemenya catches. Fires away a 3. That's no good. Missed it badly. Rebound down to Doty. Final seconds here. Final seconds with High Point of Wisconsin. We'll bring it to you in a moment as Coyle launches a 3. It's off the mark. Brown tipped the ball in the air. That's the end of the first half. Siena leads number 1 seeded Duke by 11 at the half. And High Point just got to stop.
Shot blocked. 1.6 and High Point's going to the foul line. Oh, my word.
High Point trying to knock out Wisconsin while Siena goes to the locker room with a stunning 11-point lead on the number 1 overall seeded Duke Blue Devils. We're at halftime here in Greenville. Should never play tournament games in this state again. And now...
Oh, God. Here we go.
We will bring you the free throws from High Point here. And can HPU complete the comeback? USF is not going to, Seth. Louisville by 7 with 13 seconds left. Cardinals are going to get to the finish line there.
Yeah, great effort by South Florida to make the comeback, but High Point on the verge. There was a timeout. High Point has never beaten a power conference team in their history. Not in a regular season random Wednesday night December bye game, not in the NCAA Tournament. no time. And again, only once has a Big South team ever won a game in the round of 64. That was almost 20 years ago when Winthrop beat Notre Dame. High Point on the verge of history with 2.1 seconds left. This is a 1-1. This is a 1-1 here for High Point. Cameron Fletcher, a 73% free throw shooter, is going to shoot the free throw. Here's the front end. It is up, and he missed it. Rebound, Wisconsin, and a quick timeout.
Fletcher.
2.1 seconds left. All right, High Point. All right, JT, I'm going to steal one of JT's lines about motor racing teammates. Here is the Wisconsin, what should be the Wisconsin strategy. Play 1, get the ball to 25. Play 2, get the ball to 2. Play 3, see play 1 and 2.
So Fletcher with that miss, playing at his 4th different school. He's had an incredibly long collegiate career playing at Kentucky, Florida State, and Xavier, now at High Point. It's a huge miss. But also it did take a few tenths off the clock, Seth, so... Well, Wisconsin's... You're not going to get another pass off the inbound. You're going to inbound it to whoever you want to take the shot, but they do have players that can speed dribble up the floor because they're going to have to inbound this from the backcourt, but they have guys that can speed dribble and get at least a 30, 35-footer here.
Well, stranger things have happened. That is for sure. That little girl right there is too young to understand that she needs to be heartbroken about this, potentially. Be nervous. You almost envy her, actually, in that situation.
Yeah, they've
got here we go.
They got to go length of the floor.
So much for that ballyhooed Wisconsin-Arkansas game we talked about off air Sunday. Holy cow. 1.8. Here we go. And if you're High Point, do not foul.
No, you can't foul.
Do not foul. They're guarding the inbounder. High Point is guarding the inbounder. Oh, they go baseball pass.
Throw it.
You do that.
Oh.
It's knocked away. History. Hysteria. High Point. Panthers stun Wisconsin.
I've never liked that play. I've never liked that play. It works once in a blue moon, and High Point defended it perfectly. What an upset. You know, Wisconsin got red hot into the tournament a couple of years ago and lost first round to James Madison. They got red hot into this tournament, and now they've lost in the first round to High Point. What a win!
That's incredible.
That is a heck of a result. It's a filled-up gym, too. There's some money in High Point University, and there are a lot of students that got free trips to Portland. A lot of the higher-ups in the university offered free flights out to Portland. And obviously a bunch of them took those free flights, and now they're going to stay a couple more days. How about that?
Got another final score alert for you. South Florida and Louisville has just finished.
JT's favorite word to say.
Yes,
Louisville.
83-79 Louisville.
What? Finished? His favorite word is finished?
No, Louisville.
Louisville, oh yeah. My God.
That is
Matthew, you should check the scoreboard out.
That is a generational result for High Point University. That's
incredible. Like you said it. The money changes everything. And they've got a lot of it. And in that league, I mean, it might as well be SEC versus SWAC compared their resources compared to everybody else in the league, as you got two guys dressed like Fred Flintstone in the student section. So High Point's moving on to play either Hawaii or Arkansas. Be right back in just a split second. I almost forgot this is a halftime show.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, we love it. Oh, we love it. We love it. McNeese up 3 on Vanderbilt. Late to go. Next scheduled tip is about 4:10. We understand 4:10. No way, that cannot be right. It's gonna be a little bit later than that for North Dakota State, Michigan State, but that is the next game that will tip off.
Well, in the hysteria of High Point winning, Duke is down 11 to Siena. And you want to talk about sending shockwaves through the nation.
Oh my
as,
God almighty.
As that score gets sent around to people, and as people learn of that result, and that goes for on-sites and everywhere, people are going to be absolutely stunned here. Seth, in that first half, this great Duke defense allowed 43 points as Siena shot 55% from the field and hit 5 threes. What an incredible first half played by Siena. They limited turnovers, only 3 turnovers in that first half. And for Duke, a lot of threes taken and a lot of threes missed. Blue Devils misfired on 13 of their 15 three-pointers. And this is not... This doesn't look like something that one of these 116 games where it's going to be just close for a while and the 1 seed's eventually going to pull away. JT, Siena looked legit in that first half.
Absolutely, and it isn't like March Madness to give us any shocks or anything, is it, Matthew? Not at all.
Twice before, a 16 has beaten a 1. Now, 154 times the 1 has beaten a 16, but the 16's beaten a 1 twice. And
now I'm gonna test you here, Matthew. It's only happened twice. What were those games?
Virginia lost to UMBC in 2018 in Charlotte, and FDU just a couple of years ago beating Purdue.
I cannot be bothered to fact check that to see if that is correct. So I'm going to say
it's correct.
Well done, Math. Well done, Matthew. You passed my test.
Yeah, it's correct. I promise. That FDU and Purdue game was in 23 in Columbus.
But now here's a fun fact. That game was called by the same guy. Both games called by the same guy on Westwood One.
Yeah.
Kevin Kugler. Of course, I was doing on our old platform. I was doing Missouri and Florida State, and I butted in for the last minute of that UMBC game. And then I was in Greensboro, and that was a surreal experience watching Kentucky Providence. And every time they would show an FDU Purdue update on the Jumbotron at halftime, the whole crowd just started chanting, FDU, FDU, FDU. It was one of the more surreal things I've ever experienced.
And there's going to be some stuff that happens like that here, Seth. So as we start to shape up this second half, we talk about it all the time. In these neutral site tournament events, you're going to have neutral fans that will attach themselves to the underdog. Also, you add in, there are North Carolina fans already in the seats here. Duke could be playing the Taliban, and North Carolina fans would root for the Taliban. So this is going to start creeping towards a road kind of environment for Duke in this second half if they let Siena get down to the final 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 5 minutes, and Siena's still ahead or even in the game. Because the neutrals will be rooting for Siena. North Carolina fans will want Duke to lose. Duke has got to come out of this second half with their hair on fire, and they've got to punch Siena in the mouth, because right now this underdog, they're not backing away, and they are connecting on a lot of their punches.
Listen, what did I say earlier? Jerry McNamara is their head coach. You remember him as a player. He was confident. They are not going to lack for confidence. By the way, real quick, North Dakota State, Michigan State, Hawaii, Arkansas, both slated for 4:27 Eastern tip times.
How much crazier can it already get?
Quit asking questions, Kenny. Quit asking questions.
So again, if you are just turning us on, and you can see the on our scoreboard here, JT has worked more magic. High Point has upset Wisconsin.
I gotta see that. Actually,
And
I haven't seen it.
Louisville has knocked off South Florida, closing out the first window of games here.
Good. Look at this MFer. Look at this guy. He's a genius. He is invincible. He is incomparable. He is terrific.
And not only do you see those two...
How lucky are we, Matthew, that he fell in our lap?
Yeah, we're not going to have him for long, I'm sure.
No, we're not. Enjoy him while we can.
And, of course, you see those screens scrolling at the top, those scores scrolling at the top of your screen. And, of course, the halftime score here, an 11-point Siena lead. Second half will be tipping off here shortly as Siena players are back on the court. Looks like Duke players, Duke players not yet out on the court quite yet.
So weird. JT on his he has another screen that is he has another thing on his screen on our Discord screen that is a live look-in camera of him at Master Control.
Yes.
And he has the score. Hey, then JT waves to the people. There you go, JT. Wave to the people. But anyway, JT trying to be the 5th March Madness announcer, but it won't happen. But anyway, so, and he's got, the NCAA, the scores from the NCAA website. It's weird seeing 8:27 p.m. GMT next to a March Madness score. It's very hilarious. Pierre says he's going live on WSR with Arkansas and Hawaii at 4:25.
7 minutes to the second half getting started here, by the way, so we still have a few more minutes. Seth, that Vanderbilt and McNeese score very close there in that first half. Vanderbilt getting tested by an experienced McNeese team.
Indeed they are. Real quick, just to all the hysteria, we were reporting on Louisville as well in the middle of that. They did win, as you mentioned, and just in case you are just joining us, the first 2 early games of the day, TCU beat Ohio State in a thriller 66-64, and Nebraska breaks the curse. They get their first ever NCAA tournament win. They blew out Troy 76-47.
It has already been an action-packed day, and now normally, generally speaking, it normally takes a bit to get the peak madness on the first day and the first weekend, but we've already had a down-to-the-wire game with TCU and Ohio State. We've had a 12-over-5 upset. That was a tremendous game, and now we've got a 1 seed down double digits at halftime to a 16. A reminder that if you are if you're twisting us in and you're just trying to follow along with the madness today, but your heart is with hockey, we do have hockey on the channel tonight. Seattle and Nashville coming up tonight.
It's a big game.
At 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It is a big game. And we will have that for you on the channel tonight. 8 o'clock for the Kraken and the Predators.
Hard to believe that it's almost time for the NBA and the NHL playoffs.
I mean, Stanley Cup playoffs was a month away yesterday. I mean, it's just going to be right on us.
And
And
I don't know how. I mean, I know with racing season, I know things will be different, but I'll be curious to see if JT be with us for any of the basketball and hockey, pro basketball and pro hockey playoffs. That could be an adventure.
yeah, no kidding.
They just hit the half, by the way, in OKC. Vandy 38, McNeese 35. And to your point about how big of a game it is, to our point, Seattle currently holds the second wild card of the West on 71 points. Nashville is 2 points back. But they also have to jump 2 teams before they can get to Seattle. It is tight.
Yeah.
Seattle 71, LA 71, San Jose 70, Nashville 69, Winnipeg 67. That is tight. That's what? 2 games separating what? 5 teams?
Yeah.
It's 2 points for a win, right? I always forget. I always get my soccer and hockey mixed up. It is 2 points for a win.
2 points win, 1 point for overtime loss.
Yeah. So that's a big one.
Yep. A reminder that tonight we will be here with you on the channel for the night session games here in Greenville. North Carolina and Virginia Commonwealth slated for a 6:50 tip. So we'll jump on the air around 6:45 or so. And then scheduled tip time for our last game is 9:25. That's Illinois and Penn. Tomorrow we will rejoin you on the channel for another wall-to-wall day of action of 4 straight games. We will be doing the Philadelphia games. That's a later start time, tomorrow, for 1:50 tip time for Virginia and Wright State, followed by Tennessee and Miami University. And then the night session in Philadelphia.
You think this is entertaining? Wait till that happens.
And then the night session in Philadelphia tomorrow night is UCLA, UCF, and UConn Furman. Furman, who is hosting the Greenville Pod games today. So they couldn't. So they couldn't play here because they were hosting. They could not play here.
Furman, of course, that famous win 3 years ago against Virginia.
And then,
by the way, Travis Ford is inevitable. He's about to be the new head coach at Little Rock.
Golly. Oh, my gosh. And then on the weekend, we will have multiple games, and we'll probably have other sites that gets twisted into our weekend lineup. We'll also, on Sunday, have NASCAR at Darlington, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. JBM crew will be with you for that. Jarek will have some hockey on Sunday night for you, Tampa and Calgary. So we've got another jam-packed weekend. And then, as you know, if you're a March Madness veteran, we'll go into the regionals starting next Thursday. Sweet 16 games Thursday and Friday, Elite 8 games Saturday and Sunday. So, yes, it's all just getting started. By the way,
Greg Gard is now Owens. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say this is the largest halftime lead that a 16 has ever had over a 1.
Honestly, the only other time I could think that a 16 had a lead over had a double-digit lead or close to it was not one of the 2 winners. Didn't Fairfield lead by like 11 or 10 at the half? I thought they led by 10 at the half when they played North Carolina in '97.
Well, it wasn't more than 11, I can tell you that. I don't know what it was, but it was not more than 11.
I thought it was pretty big. Anyway, by the way, future bracket advice. Greg Gard is now 0-3 against 12 seeds.
Yay. Yeah, that James Madison game that I mentioned earlier.
At least he's getting closer, though. He lost by 18 the first time. Then he lost by 11, and he only lost by 1 today. So maybe he'll win the next one.
I can tell you that at the end of the first half,
oh God,
I believe it was 40-32.
Okay, so Fairfield led North Carolina by 8 at halftime.
There's no way in hell he just looked that up. Oh my God.
That was in
Jesus.
That was in 1997. That was at the Joel in Winston-Salem.
Yes,
Sean
it
McDonough.
was. And Dean Smith. Now we didn't know it was
Sorry.
Dean Smith last year at the time.
Right.
Hold on.
But he was chasing that wins record, which he eventually got by beating Fairfield and Colorado.
Yes. Need tournament games back in Winston. Had Mike
really do.
Had Mike Miller's buzzer beater for Florida against Butler in Winston.
We didn't need that information.
That was Jim and Billy on the call of that one in 2000.
It was. That was also the Illinois Penn game where Penn had a guy named Michael Jordan, and Billy said, "Fire it up, James." But yeah, they're I miss Winston. 07 was the last time it was there. All this time I've traveled, I've never been to a game at the Joel. I'd like to go though.
Second half set to get started once CBS cameraman goes away from the stand-up position for Ian, Grant, and Bill.
Correction, 35-28.
Okay.
35-28.
And it will be an inbound for Coyle and Siena to get the second half underway. 20 minutes from a piece of elite March Madness history for the Siena Saints. On the other end, 20 minutes away from an all-time embarrassment for the Duke Blue Devils. Second half underway. And Siena with the ball, shot 55% from the field in the first half. And Gavin Doty gets in, and we've got a wedgie! It's a layup that gets wedged between the rim and the glass. They've jarred the ball free quickly. The wedgie has been released. And there was a foul on Malik Brown, whistled on that drive, and for Malik Brown, his third foul. And that is huge as Doty makes the first free throw. 86% foul shooter is Doty. What a game he's having. The Siena star. And he's knocked down the second free throw, too. This 13-point lead is the largest of the day for Siena. Duke has got to get something going on this end of the floor. And Cameron Boozer might need to take over, and he tries to here by driving and shoveling up a shot on the run, and it misses too strong. Rebound down to the Saints. This place is jam-packed right now. And there's a lot of Duke fans, but as we mentioned at halftime, there's going to be a lot of fans here that start cheering very aggressively for Siena to try to pull the upset. Follifax spinning in the lane. Cam trying to stay with him, and Follifax hooks it up, and it rolls off the rim. Brown with the rebound. Pushed ahead for Caden Boozer. Here's Caden outside right, driving in through traffic, and his layup is blocked by Justice Schultz. Out of bounds, it'll stay with Duke. And this 13-point deficit that Duke faces right now, it is the largest deficit that they have had all season long. Inbound, taken to the foul line. Cam Boozer out to the right corner. Evans curls in. A strong drive and a heavy finish. Isaiah Evans takes it to the rack strong and leaves the rim crying in his wake. Just Evans' second field goal. 11-point game. Can they get stops on this end now, which is normally where they're at their best? Schultz slices right through the defense and lays it in. Justice Schultz builds the lead back up to 13. Into the front court is Caden Boozer. Nicholas Hemenya set to check in at the next whistle for Duke. Malik Brown on the floor with 3 fouls. He's got the ball here. Handoff Sarr. Floats a pass cross court. On the right wing, it's Evans. Defended by Follifax. Evans, a bounce pass for Cam Boozer. Punched out of bounds by Doty. Stays with Duke with the shot clock at 10. Hemenya has come in, and he is set to inbound. He does to Caden Boozer. Caden slashes right, drives in, climbs the blocks, flips it up wildly. No whistle, no basket. Rebound Schultz. Here comes Siena again. Schultz a high screen. He'll drive it in. Now he backpedals to the perimeter. Puts it on the deck. Floats it outside. Doty handles on the March Madness logo at midcourt. Swings it right. Follifax has it. Hemenia pushes him back. Now Folifat gets a running start, drives in, and the layup is blocked. Cam Boozer comes flying in. Volleyball swats it out of bounds. 6 on the shot clock. Inbound from underneath with 6 on the timer. Into the left corner, Mulvey. They return it to Mulvey. Oh, and he missed a dunk. He gets it back. He plays it to a cutting Folifat, who misses a dunk. Evans comes out of the pile with it, accelerating, and he will not miss the dunk at the other end. A 4-point swing. 2 missed Siena dunks, and a run out for Evans, who crams it down on a transition slam. Siena getting anything they want on the inside right now. Stunning development as Doty swings it left. On the wing, Schultz fakes a 3. In for Mulvey. Backs in, turns on Cam, and the shot on the fallaway is no good. Saar punched it away to keep it from going out of bounds. 5-on-4, Duke with a power play. Caden Boozer swings it. Evans extra pass, and Doty gets in the way. Kicks it out of bounds. It's a kicked ball. It'll stay with Duke. It's a huge play, though, by Doty because they had an open shooter in the wing to try to take advantage of the numbers advantage that they had. Inbound out to Hemenia. Hemenia connected it on. Saar off right wing. He's defended by Coyle. Coyle entry feed. Cam Boozer going to work, going to the rim. Misses the shot but draws a foul on Mulvey. Siena only committed... And I'll look to confirm this. Siena only committed 4 fouls in that first half, if I'm not mistaken. 5 fouls they committed in the first half. It is a Siena team that cannot get into any foul trouble. We talked about how they only played 6 players in that MAAC final against MAAC as Cam Boozer hits the first free throw. They cannot afford to get into any foul trouble. Really, neither team can, but certainly Siena can't. And Duke, perhaps, be more aggressive driving and trying to create contact. Boozer hits both free throws. 9-point game. First time in a while it's been a single-figure deficit. Saints into the front court. Schultz will quarterback. Out for the ball, Mulvey. Gets it on the perimeter. Turns to his left. Hand off Doty. Back for Schultz. Schultz a bounce pass. Doty off the left elbow has Caden Boozer defending. Bounce back out for Schultz. Straight on 3. Off the heel. Oh, it rattles all the way around and falls out. Duke the rebound. It nearly used every bit of the iron to go down. Cam Boozer entry feed for Caden, and he's fouled from behind as Schultz tried to get back to deny it. Schultz is called for the foul. That will lead to our first media timeout of the second half. It's all about Siena managing this lead from media timeout to media timeout. And to the first media timeout of the second half, their halftime lead of 11 is still holding at 9. Vanderbilt and McNeese still at halftime, and we've yet to get a tip on either of those games. As Seth told you earlier, it's a 4:27 tip for both Michigan State, North Dakota State, and Arkansas, Hawaii. So, with no other games to update at the moment, I will come to you, Seth, and is this going to happen?
You just don't know, man. You just do not know. I mean, I do wonder if Duke does win this game, we look back at those 2 missed dunks as the turning point. But yeah, I mean, Siena. I will say, some of those shots they were getting in the first half aren't exactly falling here in the second half. And Duke. Well, Duke's just got to take the advice of, what makes it a great quote for me is because of how country the guy is and how he said it. Former Union High School football coach in South Carolina, Mike Anthony, was talking about he had a heavily favored team that played in a state football championship, and they were down pretty big at the half, and he said this message, and I'm going to say it to Duke, you guys just need to relax and play ball. it's the way he said, because he's again Union South Carolina kind of country, so it was the way he said it. So that's what Duke's got to do. They just got to relax and play ball.
Well, we brought you all 3 of Duke's games in the ACC tournament last week. We had them all on this channel last week, and the storyline about Duke at that tournament was learning how to play and adjust on the fly without Foster and without Gungba, starting point guard, starting center. And Seth, against a really good Virginia team, an okay Clemson team, and a Florida State team that honestly was one of the hottest teams in the country going into that tournament, I mean, did Duke look great? No. But they won all 3 games with this 7-man rotation. And a lot of people came in and was thinking about, okay, they could surely at least get by the 16 seed and try to get healthy. Is that going to happen? 16 minutes to go. Duke inbounding out of the timeout. Caden Boozer struggling to get it in, but he does for Cam underneath. He catches, hesitates, goes up, missed the shot, got it back. Still a lot of traffic around him, and now they call a foul on Mulvey. And the way it is going, Cam Boozer is probably going to have to take this game over.
And let me just add this too. You just mentioned it. Oh boy, I knew that camera shot was coming. The depth. The more fouls they commit, the more that hurts Siena. I know it's Captain Obvious analysis, but it really does with the depth situation.
On the inbound, as that foul is on the floor, Caden finds an open Nicholas Himenia, who strokes in a left wing 3, and it's down to 6. So they got 2 fouls on Siena on that trip, and then hit a 3. They made just 2 of 15 from 3-point range in the first half. Duke Himenia able to light it up from downtown there. 6-point game. Siena at the other end. Doty locates an open Coyle. His right wing 3 misfires, and the rebound was taken by Sarr, but there's a foul first, and that foul is on Duke. Yeah, once again, neither of these teams can afford foul trouble. But, again, one would think Siena can afford it less than Duke. Schultz trying to get the ball in. Throws a high arcing rainbow all the way to the backcourt, and trying to run it down was Doty with Sarr. Sarr fell down. They got tangled up. They call a foul on Sarr with the contact. Just a foot race. Oh, and Sarr did reach in to try to pull Doty back a little bit, and it's a foul on Sarr on the floor. Both players are back up. Doty having just a tremendous game. He's got 18 points. And speaking of that Siena depth, they have played the same 5 the entire game. No one has come off the bench so far for Siena, who again played just 6 players in that MAAC final against Merrimack 9 days ago. Siena on the ball. Schultz tried to feed it right past, deflected, recovered into the right corner. It's Doty for 3. It's well short. Rebound. Popcorns around, taken by the Blue Devils. Caden Boozer accelerating despite not having numbers. He goes to the rim, and he reverses it up and in, and Duke's within 4. Timeout, Jerry McNamara. Caden Boozer not taking a moment to even think about slowing down. All gas, no brakes from the 5-star freshman. Pretty reverse layup. Duke's cut the 11-point halftime deficit to 4. Siena needed a timeout. They've taken it. Oh my gracious, who could have expected this kind of intensity in this game? 28.5 was the spread.
My goodness. We are 2 minutes away from tip in both Buffalo and Portland.
And for those of you that might keep up with it, and I'm not saying this for any purposes of putting money on anything. I'm just intrigued by how we arrive at some of these. So, Seth, at the start of this day, Duke was a 28.5-point favorite, according to this sports book, which I'm not going to list because we're not listing any sporting books. We're not sponsored by anyone, and I don't want anyone thinking that we are. So I'm looking at random sports book here, Seth, and at the start of the day, Duke was a 28.5-point favorite. If you then get on same sportsbook app, the live line is now Duke minus 6.5. They have gone from a 28.5-point favorite to a 6.5-point favorite in half of basketball plus some.
That is wild.
Bet they won't be that big of a favorite on Saturday if they survive today.
No, they will not. But a 9-0 run from Duke has made things interesting. They're just about to come out of the second half break in Oklahoma City. Again, Vandy up 3 on McNeese. So, my goodness.
Real quick, Seth, I know you watch a lot of VCU basketball every year. They've got North Carolina. We've got that game coming up about 2 hours from now, 6:50, the scheduled tip-off. A lot of people are looking at VCU as a 6-11 upset against a North Carolina team that, of course, has they're not dealing with injuries. They've had their injuries that's already affected their season.
Yeah, they're playing at home. Second mention of that, by the way. A virtual home game, if you will, in Greenville. Who knows? Their voices might be hoarse. They're using up all their energy rooting for Siena in this game. See, I did that one for you. I mean, this is crazy that they have not made a substitution yet, Siena.
It is.
That is insane. But I'm looking forward to that game. And then I tell you, the news I really hate, though, is in the late game that Power from Penn might not play.
Oh,
Sick.
yeah, that would be really difficult.
If you didn't watch the Ivy League final Sunday, you missed a clinic on how to win a game from him.
Siena inbounds and brings it up. They've been just about 4 minutes since their last point. And Duke going with a zone defense here for the first time, and they get it into the left corner for Doty, who works it back off the arc. Coyle. Back this way, Schultz. Schultz into the corner, Mulvey. Back for Schultz. He'll drive the zone down the middle to the rim, flips it up. No. Cam Boozer the rebound, long outlet. Evans lost it, but it comes to Sarr behind the pack, and slamming it home is the freshman from Italy. Duke's within 2. 11 straight. Blue Devil points. Siena's got to find answers, and as we said, here's a kicked ball by Evans on a pass by Schultz trying to get it into the front court. As we've said, Siena's made no subs. All 5 players that started have played all 25 minutes and change of this game. Not only can they not afford foul trouble, but they're going to start getting winded, you would imagine. Left wing 3, Coyle, good! Brendan Coyle with a much-needed hit for Siena. Saints by 5. Third 3 of the game for Coyle. That's giving him all 9 of his points. Caden Boozer at the other end will try to answer no. Rebound tapped up. Hemenya couldn't make it. Boozer a deep catch on another offensive rebound, and he sticks it back in on the putback. 50-47. A near steal by Evans at midcourt. Duke starting to pressure Siena as they come up the floor as well. They set up in the half court now. Bounce pass to the foul line. Doty turns, misses the push shot. Mulvey took the offensive rebound, missed, got it back, missed again, and now it's Mulvey and Cam Boozer scrapping for the rebound, and we get a whistle. Is it a foul or is it a handball? Held ball. VAR to check if it's a handball.
Oh, God.
Duke played the champion out of the MAAC in the first round last year of the tournament in the 116, and they throttled Mount St. Mary's by 44. Much different experience today. It is Duke's ball, and up the floor they come, and Cam Boozer in the lane, twisting and turning, getting positioning on Mulvey. Banks it up, it won't go, and the rebound safe from going out of bounds by Falafak. And Siena brings the ball up. That last play was a foul on Mulvey, his third. Here's Schultz slicing in, kicking out, up top, left wing, three is down! Another Siena triple! And the lead is up to 6 as Coyle makes his fourth. Blue Devils at the other end. They're turning momentum back their direction. Can they keep it that way? Caden Boozer, pull-up floater from the right lane line, rattles in. And a timeout taken by John Shire. 53-49, 12 and a half minutes to go. It's still a long, long road to get to the finish line. Siena's halftime lead of 11 is down to 4 as the Blue Devils try to charge back to save their season that's only seen them lose twice, by 1 point to Texas Tech, by 3 points at the buzzer to North Carolina. They've lost 2 games by a combined 4 points, Seth, and that same team has trailed the majority of this game to Siena, the MAAC champions. In fact, I can tell you right here, Seth, Siena has led for 77% of this game.
That's wild. That's March. That's how things can work out. Let's update you on a couple other games. Vanderbilt has found a bit of a rhythm. They forced McNeese into a timeout. 18-10 to go. 45-35 lead for the SEC tournament runner-up in that game. The team that beat Vanderbilt last week in Nashville for that title, picking up right where they left off. A 7-0 start for Arkansas against Hawaii. That game, again, just underway. Actually, it's now 9-0. And they're just underway in Buffalo at the 16-28 mark. North Dakota State with an 8-5 lead over Michigan State. And another quick reminder, our evening session, our primetime slate, Matthew mentioned, we'll have VCU, North Carolina, also in the early evening slate. The top seed of the Midwest, Michigan against Howard, Texas and BYU in an 11-6 matchup, and an interesting 10-7 matchup between Texas A&M and St. Mary's. The late session will start 9:25-ish, don't hold us to that, Penn and Illinois. Also in the late window, St. Louis, Georgia, Kennesaw State, Gonzaga, and the Big Sky champs, Idaho, against last year's national runner-up, Houston. That is your night session, just to get that out of the way. Matthew?
Well, we are excited for what the rest of the night will bring, but boy, the early sessions are bringing it on this first full day of the NCAA Tournament. Just to talk a little bit more about, and just trying to frame how amazing this has been, how much Siena has led in this game and has taken it to Duke today. Duke beat 12 top 25 teams this year. Most by an ACC team ever. ACC basketball has been going on a long time. 17.
Yeah, 70+ years.
Yes. Duke has 17 quad 1 wins this year. And over the last 2 seasons, their combined record is 67-6. John Shire, in his first 4 seasons as the Duke head coach, is 121-24. And yet here this team sits today, having trailed at halftime to Siena by double digits. They've trailed for basically the entire game. And with 12.5 to go, as you see, they trail by 4. As Siena inbounds, that timeout was taken by John Shire, so a reset for Duke, as they have cut into that 11-point halftime deficit. But Siena, who's been firing away all day long, has it here with Francis Falifax swinging it up top for Doty. Mulvey sets a screen for him, and Mulvey's got to start being a little bit more cautious with 3 fouls. Late clock for Schultz, who leans in with a lefty floater that missed everything, and Cam Boozer gets the rebound, and Duke could cut it to a 1-score game with a bucket on this trip. Cam up top for Caden. Twin brothers play catch on the perimeter. Cam steps to the foul line. Spins in, and it knocked away by Doty. And a steal. And Siena in transition. Brings it up. Shoveled back to Falifax, who gives it back to the head of the key. Taken there by Coyle, who's hit 4 threes. Dribble handoff Schultz. Slung across the floor to be taken by Doty. Schultz has it once again. Schultz top of the arc. Slashes on Evans. Throws up a lob. Mulvey was the target. Sarr knocked it away. Caden Boozer the recovery. In transition out to Himenia. Fakes the 3. Drives in. Kicks out. Long 3. Evans from the hash mark. And he drains it to bring Duke within 1. Evans can heat up like a firecracker in the blink of an eye. He's got 10 points. He scored 32 in the quarterfinal win of the ACC tournament last week against Florida State. Siena ball. Scoreboard pressure on the Saints for the first time since they've gathered this lead and built it. Doty playing catch of the perimeter. First to Coyle, then for Schultz. Now it's Coyle, and that's Schultz again. Bounce pass, Folafak at the foul line. He turns, he drives on Boozer, banks it up with the right hand. It rolls in. Folafak extends the lead to 3 for Siena. Nearing the midway point of the second half. Caden Boozer and Isaiah Evans play catch on the perimeter. Evans deep left wing 3 to tie. Clatters off, rebound, scrap 4. Boozer had it, lost it. He's on the floor. Siena comes out of the pile with it, had a 4-on-3. Does not decide to hurry, but not pressing the brakes is Coyle. Long left wing 3 rattled out. Now Duke might have numbers in transition 4-on-3. Caden Boozer in the lane, twisting and turning, and finding Sarr out of the left corner. Return for Caden. Entry feed for Cameron. Cameron got bumped from behind. There was no whistle, and his pass into the corner was stolen by Coyle. Duke turnover as we strike the midway point of the second half. 30 minutes into this game, and Siena leads Duke by 3. Up top, Coyle faked a long 3, rifles a pass to his right. Schultz on the wing. Schultz puts it on the deck, wraps it back around. Folafak, good head fake. He's got an open look at a 3, and he hits it! Folafak with his second 3 of the game and just his 6th of the season. 6-point Siena lead. Caden Boozer for Duke. Up top for Sarr. Steps to his right. Quarterbacked it into the corner. Evans up top. Cameron for Caden. Into the left corner. Himenia lets it fly from 3 and he missed it badly. Rebound down to the Saints. 4 of 20 from 3 in this game is Duke. 2 of their 4 hits from 3 has been from Isaiah Evans. Mulvey left baseline out to Coyle. He hasn't been struggling from 3, but he missed that badly. Cam Boozer the rebound. Long outlet. Sarr, good move to the rim. He goes! And he got fouled. He misses the layup, but he got tagged from behind by Coyle. It'll be 2 at the line for Dame Sarr. Cam Boozer has had a lot of those long outlets this season. He is a heck of a passer. Those 70 and 80-foot passes. Sarr at the free throw line. He does struggle. And he misses this one. He's just 52%. Duke from the free throw line this season ranks 192nd in the country. 72%. One more at the line for Sarr. Freshman from Oderzo, Italy. Tremendous defender. As the season has gone on, he's become a little bit more of an offensive threat. He makes the second free throw. He goes 1 out of 2. Malik Brown checks back in to replace Sarr, giving him a breather. Last foul was on Coyle, as I mentioned, his 3rd. 3 Saints now with 3 fouls. Schultz into the front court. Gives it for Mulvey, now off the right elbow. Folafat trying to dance his way in. Steps in on Cam Boozer, puts it up. Around the rim, it won't fall. Rebound grabbed off the floor by Malik Brown. Pushed ahead for Caden Boozer. Outside left is Caden. Cuts to his right. Comes back left. On the perimeter, swings at Evans, extra feed, right corner. Darren Harris shoots the 3, misses. Offensive rebound, Boozer. Back out to Harris. Fastball to the head of the arc. Caden Boozer for Malik Brown. Whips a pass cross court. Evans on the deck. Kick for Caden. He'll spot up a 3 and knock it down. They don't have the size advantage that they would have had with Gungba, so they are living and dying from the outside. And they haven't hit a lot of 3s today, but Caden makes that one. 2-point game. Caden with 15 points. His career high is 16. He did that twice last week. Siena ball holding on to a tenuous lead. A lead in which they've held most of the game. Left corner 3 is jacked up and made! It's Doty hitting again, and there is no slowing him down. He's got 21. Working his way into C.J. McCollum territory today. Caden Boozer drive down the middle with the left, lays it up, and it would not fall. And Siena's got the rebound. Rebound down to Mulvey. These 5 Siena Saints playing the game of their lives. At the other end, though, a turnover. Caden Boozer a steal. At the other end, Euro steps past the defender Schultz and lays it in with the right hand. Duke gets 2 off a Siena turnover. Approaching the final 7 minutes. Long stretch without a whistle here. Schultz is into the front court on the midcourt logo. Hands it off for Coyle. Coyle has been awesome today. Off to Folafak. Entry feed. Turning off the left baseline. Doty twisting and turning. Threw it up for grabs. Mulvey recovered it. A late clock. Mulvey got it to Schultz. Schultz out Doty. Straight on off balance 3. No. Rebound Cam Boozer. Duke down by 3 with the ball. Trying to will themselves to their first lead in such a long time in a game in which they were heavily favored. Caden Boozer up top, swings it right. Harris entry feed. Boozer cross court. Evans 3 to tie. No. Rebound up for grabs. Cam Boozer got it back out to Caden. Loads it up. 3 straight on. That's off the rim. Offensive rebound. Evans put back. No. He got it back again. And on the 4th opportunity, Evans scores. 61-60. Just over 6 to go. Everyone across America tuning into this game, and depending on where you fall, the clock either moving like quicksand or moving a mile a second. Folafak outside left, driving at Cam Boozer. He lost the ball. Bodies on the floor. Harris had it. Taken back by Folafak. Back out Doty, straight on 3. No, wide left. Cam Boozer for the rebound. Had his arm hit. He's fouled. And we'll get a timeout on the floor. 5:47 left. The number 1 overall seed in an unexpected fist fight. Siena by 1. Under 6 to go. Someone else talk. I gotta catch my breath.
Well, McNeese has come back against Vanderbilt. Vandy's lead down to 3. Still 14:35 to play in Oklahoma City in that one. In Portland, Arkansas is making sure they do not let what happened to Wisconsin happen to them. Hogs picking up right where they left off in Music City. 13-2, they lead Hawaii, and it's Michigan State with an 18-10 lead over North Dakota State with about 12:40 to play in the first half in Buffalo. Again, folks, Seth Eaves back in our studio. JT behind the scenes, Matthew Owens on the call. No, you're not hearing things, and you're not seeing things either. It's really happening. The number 1 overall seed, Duke University Blue Devils, are in a fight for their tournament lives. 61-60, they trail Siena, a Siena team that has led for close to 80% of the game. Jerry McNamara, who's had a lot of March moments before, is trying to create one as a coach now with less than 6 minutes to go. The Saints up 1 on the Blue Devils in Greenville. It is, well, we've got an Englishman with us. Matthew Owens, it is squeaky bum time in Greenville.
Now, remind me, Seth, UMBC beat Virginia. Virginia was the number 1 overall. Was Purdue the number 1 overall, or was Alabama?
Alabama was the number 1 overall.
Okay.
Purdue was the number 4 overall, number 1 seed.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, this is why, I know a lot of people, hint, hint, don't want to hear this right now, but I have to speak with some form of objectivity. This is why people love the NCAA Tournament. When you woke up this morning, nobody, and I mean nobody, thought that Siena and Duke would be this much of a battle with 5:47 to go. And yet, here we are. And this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Siena's doing this with the furthest thing from fresh legs. They still haven't made a substitution.
Yeah, they've had 9 days since their last game, but they have yet to bring a single one of their starters out of this game. Duke enrolls about 17,000 students a year. Siena enrolls 3,500. This private university in Loudonville, New York, which next year will host its 90th anniversary, might be celebrating something incredible here today.
Look at that stat. Last time a team played its starters the entire game in the national semifinal, 1979, when it was DePaul and Indiana State. DePaul was the one that did it. Here's a good omen for you, Duke fans. DePaul lost that game.
They did. Duke will inbound it and bring it up out of the timeout. A trip to take the lead here. Caden Boozer to quarterback. Into Cam at the foul line. He turns. He had 2 defenders on him. Now it's just the one in Doty. Cam out to the left corner for Sarr. Sarr had Falafak slapping at it. Sarr back to Boozer. Back to Sarr. He'll line up a left wing 3. It's off the heel. Back tap on the rebound. Caden Boozer's going to chase it down all the way into the backcourt. Shot clock will reset. And Caden will calmly bring it up. Feeds Evans, entry feed, Cam Boozer to the rim, through 2 defenders, goes up and draws a foul. And Cam Boozer will go to the line, 2 shots, a chance to give Duke the lead. That back tap on the rebound was enormous, that it found a piece of the floor where only a Duke player could go get it. Now Cameron Boozer at the line, 2 shots. As he will attempt to tie it and then give Duke the lead, but his first free throw has missed. It's a team that has struggled from the line this year. We talked earlier about how many big teams, threats in this tournament, their bugaboo is free throw shooting. Cam makes the second. We're tied at 61. 5 minutes to go in Greenville. Siena ball. And up the floor with Doty, who feeds it up top for Mulvey, who might have one of the hardest jobs and has all day long. Falafak at the top of the arc. Doty trying to free himself. Falafak can't get it to him. Falafak to the top of the circle. Feeds it, and a bounce pass inside by Mulvey got deflected. It's out of bounds to Duke. They say it's off Siena last. So Duke has it, and up they come. Again, to try to take the lead. Caden Boozer feeds it right. Sarr on the wing. Clips it into the corner. Evans drives baseline in the lane to the basket. Flips it up and in. Duke has the lead. Just north of 4 minutes to go. Duke has their first lead since it was 10-8. Incredible to think about. They lead 63-61. Siena far from out of it. Falafak had it poked away at the top of the arc by Brown. He recovered. Now it's off to Schultz. Into the final 4 minutes. Schultz climbs right blocks. Pull-up jumper. Missed everything. Cam Boozer the rebound. Rips a long outlet. Ooh, that got knocked out of bounds by a Siena defender who then goes falling and crashing into the scorer's table. Was that Doty? Yes, it was. Just goes flying to try to get the steal, and hopefully he's okay. That will lead to the final media timeout of this game, and down the stretch we go in Greenville. Duke leads Siena by 2. What kind of finish are we going to get?
Well, that is, that's for the players to decide and for us to find out, I reckon. Wild, and just wild stuff. Again, I have to repeat myself that nobody outside of Siena's team and staff woke up this morning thinking this was going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, this is unbelievable. But now, I'm going to be curious to see how Siena holds its nerve now that they have to play from behind. And as we have beat to death, they haven't played from behind. They haven't been behind very much in this game. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that. Matthew, you think Arkansas and Calipari were paying attention to Wisconsin High Point? It's 24-7 Razorbacks at the under 12.
Now, see, I was going to say, High Point in Wisconsin, yes. But I mentioned at halftime, as that Siena score, leading Duke by 11 at halftime, that would reverberate around the country. I guarantee you there are a lot of coaches that wanted to let their teams know at some point today Duke was down double digits at halftime. Wisconsin lost to High Point. You can't come out lackadaisical. Duke and Siena could play 100 times, and Duke would win 99. But this is a one-and-out tournament.
Again, and you're right. The only reason I said Wisconsin High Point is because that was the game that preceded it. But you are right about the Duke aspect of it. Also, 52-46 the lead for Vandy, and another team that sometimes, contrary to popular belief, can struggle or lose to a lower-seeded team. Off to a fast start. That's Michigan State. They're up 13 with 10:52 to play in the first half.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet John Calipari and Tom Izzo would like to thank John Shire for getting their team's attention today, because they have not come out lackadaisical. And I'm not saying that Duke did. I give all the credit in the world. Siena came out, and I mean, I mentioned it, looking into the whites of Duke's eyes and refusing to blink. But as you would imagine, with a team that's this fatigued and this out-talented, Siena's missed 19 of 25 shots in this second half after they shot 55% in the first half. Duke inbounds, play restarts. Under 4 to go. Caden Boozer off to Cam, top of the arc. Cam puts his head down, drives in the lane, shovels it up through a bunch of traffic, and there was contact there on a foul. And when you have tired bodies like this, the first two things to go, your legs on jump shots and your defensive stance. And they've missed a lot of shots, as I just said, in this half, and they're starting to foul a lot more in this half because they can't stand in front of their man now. Boozer hits the first 3-point game. Will Duke survive all of what's happened in the first 35 minutes of this game and waltz to the finish line, or does Siena have one more wave to ride? Boozer's second free throw is good. This is a 4-point game, 65-61. Siena on the inbound, dark green uniforms, gold numbers, trim, and nameplates, attacking from left to right, handled by Justice Schultz. Schultz outside left, centered Mulvey, back to Schultz, entry feed, fall effect. He's had a great game. Mid-post left, trying to back it on Brown. Foul is called on Brown. That's his fourth. Fourth foul on Malik Brown. Duke on a 9-0 run here. That last two free throws, by the way, for Cam Boozer has given him 20 points, his 21st 20-point game of the year. Siena inbounds, left corner, Schultz has it up top, Caden Boozer defending. Schultz swings it right, Doty. Doty wanted to take the three, Sarr was all over him. Doty's been amazing today, almost unguardable, gives it to Falafak. He spins his way in the lane, leans in and has his shot blocked by Cameron Boozer. Stays with Siena, but the shot clock, which somehow JT got right by the 10th of a second. Yes, 3.6 left on the shot clock.
I was about to take a screenshot of that.
God almighty. Siena will inbound underneath. They've got to do something quickly. Coyle tried to get open. He's hit 4 threes today. Schultz will inbound. Big wad of bodies. It's off to Doty. Left corner three is up. It's short. And the rebound is pulled away by Duke's Isaiah Evans. Caden Boozer dribbles into the front court. Final 3 minutes. Cameron Boozer with the ball in his hands, March Madness logo. Duke's defense that has been massive all season long, but struggled mightily in the first half. They've kept Siena scoreless over the last 5 minutes. Boozer moves to the top of the arc. Shot clock at single figures. Cameron Boozer, the best player in the country, straight up three. No off the heel. Tap followed no from Saar. Battle for the rebound. Saar was able to spill it out to Evans on a reset. Now Boozer will attack down the lane. Kick right corner. Saar extra feed. Evans a head fake. Off right wing. He'll drive to the rim. Reverse layup. Oh, somehow it would not fall. And it's out of bounds to Siena. And I don't know how the basket stayed shut for the Blue Devils on that trip. Oh, Evans did everything but finish on that tremendous drive. You hear John Shire talk glowingly about Isaiah Evans because when he came to Duke last year, he was a spot-up three-point shooter. He's become an all-around player now. Loves to cut and drive and slash and finish at the rim. Here's Siena at the other end, and Mulvey colliding with Saar at the rim. Saar took it away. Mulvey recovers. Siena has it again. Falafak off right wing. Final 2 minutes back to Doty. Doty's three is a swirling miss. The rebound is swiped out of bounds. Who's it going to? Someone make a call. Who's it going to? The official standing right there with his hands on his hips. No, I don't need to tell you who's got the ball. No one needs to know. It's not an important situation. It's Duke's ball. Blue Devils up the floor. Could this be a put-away possession? 1:45 left. 4-point game. Left-handed yo-yo dribble. Boozer hip high. On the March Madness logo out for a screen. Evans, they love that play. Cam handoff. Caden curls to the rim. Lays it up. Off glass. It's good! Duke by 6. 90 seconds left. 2 timeouts left both ways. Arrow is with Duke. Timeout, Jerry McNamara and Siena. 1.5 minutes to go. Duke by 6 after trailing at halftime by 11. Seth, it's a double-digit lead still for Arkansas and Hawaii. How is it between Vandy and McNeese as we wind down our afternoon session in Greenville?
It's a half a dozen point lead for the Commodores. 8:28 to go, 58-52. Tyler Tanner is doing the bit. He averages 19 a game. He has 16 today to lead Mark Byington's squad, who searching for an NCAA tournament win as McNeese lays it in. And if my math is correct, Vanderbilt's looking for their first NCAA tournament win since 2012.
Whew.
Kevin Stallings was still Vandy's head coach back then.
It's the year they won the SEC title by upsetting that great Kentucky team.
That's right. Yep. And of course that was last year they lost to St. Mary's in the first round. It's 34-20 Arkansas just to get the complete score right. 7:37 first half and 6:14 to play in the first half in Buffalo. Michigan State up 30-18. On the Bison of North Dakota State. Michigan State, Louisville, that wouldn't draw any eyeballs in the second round in Buffalo or anything.
Oh, my God, the guard play in that game. Good Lord.
Ooh, big three McNeese. They've got it down to 3, 7:21.
Louisville would not
And there's the student manager.
Louisville would not have anything for that front court, though. Louisville front court has been poor.
All right, Matthew Owens will get us to the finish line. 90 seconds left. Siena running out of time and energy.
They have not scored in the last 6 minutes and 20 seconds. 55% from the field in the first half. In the second half, 21%, 6 of 29. They inbound out of the timeout. They need a basket. Up top, it's handled by Coyle, who gave it to Mulvey at the top of the arc. Mulvey comes to give it to Schultz, who came back for the ball. Schultz off to Coyle, who's hit 4 threes. He couldn't get free. Back for Schultz, timer at 10. Schultz dancing, gets to the right elbow, pull-up jumper, it rattles off. The putback is good, though. Mulvey, first points in 6.5 minutes for Siena. Keeps them in the game. 4-point margin, and 1 minute to go in Greenville. Evans struggling to get the ball through the press. Boozer was able to bounce it, though, to him, and Evans is into the front court. Doty blitzes Evans, who gives it up to Caden. On the March Madness logo at midcourt, Caden Boozer. Drifts to his left, bounce pass right. Top of the arc, Brown. Mulvey defends. Brown fakes a handoff, gives for Cam Boozer. Boozer will drive it. Fall effect. Boozer lost the ball. Out of bounds to Siena. 37 seconds left. Boozer dribbled it off his left knee. And it has seemed that Duke players have struggled handling the ball today. This is a new ball, but these Duke players would have played with this ball against Michigan, as at the other end, Doty off-balance three misses. Cameron Boozer the rebound, and Siena needs to foul, and they finally do with 22 seconds left, and they fouled the absolute wrong person. On a team that does struggle from the free throw line, Isaiah Evans does not. He was second best in the ACC in free throw shooting at 87%. And the jump shots that were falling at an incredible rate in the first half for Siena, they just haven't been falling in this second half. And again, for a team that hasn't made a single substitution, legs on jump shots. It's the first to go when you're tired. This is 1-and-1, and Evans misses, but the rebound is tapped right back to him. Evans controls it. He'll try not to give it up. He doesn't. Schultz fouls, and with 16 seconds left, Cinderella Siena, the clock is inching to midnight. But what a performance. Duke averages 82 points per game. This Siena defense has held him to 67. Evans makes it 68 as he hits his first free throw. And all of these Duke fans here in Greenville, they have to know they've just gotten away with it on a major, major level. Evans hits the second, 6-point game, 16 seconds left. Inbound to Schultz, speed dribble up the right side of the floor. He'll drive at Caden Boozer. He gets up underneath Malik Brown, who went airborne defensively, and Schultz lays it in on a reverse. 4-point game, 10 seconds left. Timeout, Jerry McNamara, Siena's last. Again, once this game finishes up, we will sign off again. We will be back on around 6:45 for VCU and North Carolina. 6:50 the scheduled tip time there. So the three of us will step away. You can bet your bottom dollar somebody will be getting food, as I point to myself. We'll step away for dinner and come back for VCU, North Carolina, and then Illinois and Penn. And those two games will have a lot to live up to from the first two that we have gotten on this floor today. TCU outlasting Ohio State in a thriller, and then Duke and Siena has given us, I don't even know what to call it. Duke will inbound. They are in the double bonus now. Haminia will get the ball in. He does for Cameron Boozer, and he's fouled with 8.8. JT got it right again. There has been escape jobs. We've talked about the 2 times the 16 has beaten a 1. There's also been razor-close escape jobs by 1 seeds against 16, and the first one that really saved the NCAA tournament the way it is now was when Georgetown got taken all the way to the wire by Princeton as Cam Boozer makes the first free throw. That was an 89. Georgetown could not have been a bigger favorite. Came right down to the wire. A game that aired on ESPN with Mike Gorman on the call in Providence. Georgetown won over Pete Carrill's Princeton by 1 point. There's been other close calls too. Boozer's second free throw is good. He took the game over in the second half when Duke needed the best player in the country to take over. The lead is 6 in the final moments. Doty with a right wing 3. That rattles off. Sarr the rebound. And in a game that will never forget the effort of Siena, that noise that you just heard was not the buzzer. It was the biggest sigh of relief from the fan base of the number 1 overall seed. Duke survives Siena. 71-65. The Blue Devils, they didn't win this game, Seth Eaves. They survived it.
finally get myself unmuted there. Indeed, and yeah, that would be the right word. Survival. And your heart goes out to the Siena fans, to the Siena players.
They played 5 players.
All five of them, who just had a remarkable effort today, and they gave it their all. But in the end, Duke prevailed, and I've said this before about different sports, but in this sport, in this tournament, more than any other, you do not get style points in March. There are no, just score more than the other team and get the heck out of Dodge. And that's what Duke has done. Do you want to give one final update before we
Yes.
sign off?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's start with the games that are in progress in Oklahoma City. 5:12 in the South, 4:21 to go. Vanderbilt leading McNeese 65-60. Commodores trying to set up what would be. And I'm not just saying this because of my feelings towards one team. Man, those random second round game ever. Vanderbilt and Nebraska.
Yeah.
Very random. But that's what we're going to get if McNeese does not come back and win in this game. The other games in progress. See, I can pull up JT's scoreboard here on that. Michigan State, the 3 in the East, leads 14th seed North Dakota State 37-22. 3:24 to play in the first half. And with 4:04 in the first half, a high-flying first half in Portland. The 4 seed of the West, Arkansas, leads Hawaii 44-31. The finals from earlier today, I kind of spoiled one of them. Nebraska did get their first tournament win. They blew out Troy 76-47. Duke will play TCU next, the number 9 seed. Xavier Edmonds' layup with 4.3 seconds left lifts the Horned Frogs to a 66-64 win. So it's TCU Duke on Saturday. Also in Buffalo, Louisville had a big lead over South Florida. The Bulls fought back, but the Cardinals win 83-79, 23 for Isaac McNeely. They'll play the Michigan State, North Dakota State winner. And the surprise of the day, High Point University. Chase Johnston, their 3-point marksman, his first made 2-point basket of the season on a fast break layup with less than 10 seconds left. That proved to be the game winner. Wisconsin, a trendy team, and they win it 83-82. So High Point wins it over Wisconsin 83-82. So, wow. A big stunner there. And, of course, here, Duke wins it 71-65. I have to step aside for a brief moment. Shout out to Matthew Owens, who did a great job calling the games, as always, and JT, who continues to feverishly press buttons behind the scenes. He's a wizard.
He's the best. We will sign off from here. We'll be back in about an hour and a half to start our night session in Greenville. Final score, Duke 71, Siena 65. Tune in to the rest of the games, however you choose to do that, and we'll see you here soon.